everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to do a deep dive into something uncomfortable, and that is, why do we keep looking to the government to fix our family problems? We're questioning a massive myth, the idea that national politics is where family values are born. It's not. Family values start and stop in the family. If we've lost our moral compass, Washington isn't going to deliver a new end like a Domino's pizza or something. We have to cultivate it ourselves. As Gen Xers and expats, looking inward isn't just a luxury anymore. It's how we survive in a world that is absolute turmoil. So, let's get going. One of the best things about being a Gen Xer right now is sitting back and watching the younger generations take the wheel. Our kids are navigating a brutal global economy, but watching them raise and build their own families is total pleasure. Now, being an expat halfway across the world means I don't see my own family very often. But that doesn't mean I don't see family. I don't live in some gated, exclusive expat bubble. I live right here among the locals. I see families at the beaches and playing football, barbecuing, packing the stores on weekends, and building sandcastles together on the beach. And for those who don't know me, I'm Island Punk, and this is GenX-Xpat. I traded my condo and my truck for a rental apartment across from the beach and a scooter on this tiny island in the southern hemisphere. And yeah, I know the word island has some loaded, weird connotations right now. I can't help that. Mauritius is a small island nation off the coast of Africa. It's not something weird. It's got a killer 10-year retirement visa, and the quality of life is a dream for an adventurous, budget-conscious person. But here's the catch about moving to paradise. You can pack your bags, book the flight, and cross an ocean, but you pack your problems too. Expat life doesn't magically erase the baggage you carry from your childhood, family, or your home politics. So in fact, if you don't face those old wounds, they will derail the whole adventure. Lately, I've been looking inward, trying to achieve a higher level of awareness in retirement. And I realized I fell for a piece of propaganda. I kind of believe this narrative that the US government was drifting away from its Christian family values. I don't know why, I just did. Kind of bought into it, thought it was a good point. But let's take a closer look at that. What I didn't get is that the very people screaming that the government's lost its values, Christian family values, is that they've lost their own moral compass. They're blaming the system for their domestic failures and lack of spiritual connection. Before I retired, I spent 20 years as a teacher. I worked with so many kids who had zero parenting, kids who couldn't regulate their own emotions or behaviors enough to learn in a classroom setting. And a lot of them came from ultra-right MAGA homes, the exact homes shouting about family values. It made me wonder, why am I not MAGA? Why aren't you MAGA? Almost everyone in my family is. I should be the target audience for the MAGA cult. I grew up in abusive, chaotic, scapegoating, gaslighting, classic Gen X survival packaged home. And at 14, I ran away and ended up in a foster home. I really think that foster home saved my life. One foster home. People forget that the 1980s, they were rough. In Portland alone, there were hundreds of runaway teens. And statewide, thousands. It was a massive crisis of youth homelessness and exploitation. And a lot of us were classic family scapegoats who were pushed out by our families because they needed someone to carry the blame for the dysfunction. And we just were not going to be a part of it. But there's a strange upside to being the outcast. My 5 siblings stayed home. They adapted to the authoritarian parenting style. Why? Today, they're all MAGA. Because inside an abusive system, obedience equals safety. Chaos and neglect means you're not the target. Scapegoating someone else keeps you safe from it. Me from it. And maybe lots of us. Those same family members today, they see President Chucky as leadership, legitimate leadership, not abusive. They see power. They see legitimacy. To them, compliance feels like survival. They fall for the hype, the camaraderie, the festive circus of promises. He's like Chucky from Child's Play movies, this nightmare doll that manipulates people into doing violent, crazy things because they trust it. It's the same setup from when we were children. The neglectful chaos means parenting is doing its job. But to those of us who walked away, we don't see safety. We see the same exact gaslighting and cruelty that we grew up with. It's the same toxic dynamics we later recognized in our awful bosses and corporate culture. Well, we weren't victims then, and we aren't now. We're independent and we're resilient. But why? Well, there's a reason we didn't fall for the MAGA spell. Let's bring in some research to make sense of it. Back in the day, psychologist Gordon Allport came up with contact theory. He proved that prejudice shrinks when different groups come together, but only under 4 conditions. So first, equal status, common goals, cooperation, and supportive environment. It's basically the recipe for a quality college experience or a tight-knit community. Real change happens during shared real-world projects, disaster relief, community work, local service. But the Chucky regime frames everything as a zero-sum game, winners and losers. And it gets even darker. Here's how it works. It's a term called stochastic terrorism. It's a psychological trick where leaders use weaponized language to provoke hostility and incite violence indirectly in their supporters, all while maintaining plausible deniability. Here's how it works. They demonize a target, amplify it through the media, and rely on simple statistical probability. They know that if they preach hatred to millions of people, someone somewhere will eventually act on it. It works because it echoes the abusive family dynamic perfectly. Someone has to be sacrificed so the rest of us can feel safe behind this powerful leader. But here's the good news. We are not helpless. We weren't as kids, and we aren't now. The antidotes are real. We need media literacy to spot the dog whistles. We need to platform accountability to stop the amplification. And we need counter speech from trusted voices, like what I am attempting to do right now. And we need to build resilient local communities to fight the insulation that people and groups try to maintain. Other places, other countries like the EU and France and Germany and New Zealand, they are way ahead of the US in this. The US is far behind, but we can still build resilience right here, right now. At the end of the day, the government is about democracy, justice, and constitutional law. It is not your family. Government does not define your family values. Family values start at home and they stay at home. We have to get them back ourselves. If this stream of consciousness resonated with your own journey, I dive much deeper into these topics of self-awareness and emotional sovereignty in my journaling book, Mental Wealth Journey. You can buy it on Amazon now. And to support this channel and keep the conversation going, please hit the subscribe button or click the link below to buy me a coffee. Until next time, heavy topic, but lead, follow, or get out of the way. Bonjour.